Hi guys. Today we are going to work on inversions for beginner baby boomer yoga. And I am in a beautiful setting in Dominican Republic. Maybe hear birds, might hear a little bit of traffic going by. Last year I was up on a terrace overlooking the ocean. So today we just have a nice background, not quite as beautiful. And I have set up inversions with props from my room. And I'm going to show you with props first because they're set up, and then without props. So for people that are beginners to inversions, inversions basically mean when your head is below your heart. So it could be standing up and just folding yourself over. But for the purposes of yoga, it generally means that our legs are up and our head is down in a certain way that requires an understanding and a balance. So I'm going to show you here, I've used a pillow from my room. I need to scooch up here, and I don't recommend if you're new to this necessarily going up against glass, but I do recommend going up against a wall. And so I'm going to scooch up against this wall. And the thing with using something like a pillow or a few blankets is that you really have to get your shoulders right at the edge, and that can be a little tricky at first. The other thing is, notice I don't have my hair tied up. If you do have your hair tied up, you don't want to get it right where it's going to disturb the balance of your head and neck. So here I go. And I've got a chair here, so that's going to give me some stability to hold on to get my back off the floor. Actually, I'm going to use my arms a little too. And then the chair is good. So it's the floor, but I meant the chair, because I can get stability in my legs. Now, this might be way too much. You might be saying, lady, I don't want to get my back off the floor yet. We'll look at that in a moment. But here we have what's called Plow pose or Halasana. I walk my elbows in as much as I can. I take my hands on my lower back. I bring one leg up, and then I see if I can get the other leg up. My frontier here is getting my upper back in and my knees as straight as possible. This is called the queen of all yoga poses. It is so fabulous for you. It's really good for the thyroid gland. It reverses the effects of gravity in the entire body, the circulation, the internal organs. Really good. And then when you come out of this, you have the wall. And this is exactly what we're going to do when I take the props away. We're going to use the wall. And we heard a little honk. There's nothing I can do. We're right by a little road here. And so I'm going to come up and get rid of the props. And the thing is, this is a hard floor, and I don't like doing yoga on a hard floor. So you really might want to keep some sort of a prop. You don't have to worry as much, but I'm going to get rid of them just so you can see how it works for the beginners. And I also don't like my head anymore on something hard, particularly in headstand. I really don't like doing it on a hard surface, but we're not going to get to headstand today. There's some other headstands on the Schoolhouse YouTube if you want to look at those, how to learn those. But let's go back to the beginner yoga for baby boomers. And I cannot encourage you enough to do this, and maybe eventually to learn how to do this against the wall. A lot of people do it right up until, their 80s and 90s. You really can do that. And if you have the wall, it's so reassuring you won't hurt yourself. But for right now, let's think about how we're going to do this without hurting our neck, maybe being willing to get our back off the floor. Maybe it's not ready yet. So I'm going to bring myself and scooch up. The closer you can get, the better. So if your legs are tight, that might be a little bit challenging. And then the back of my head is on the floor. That's really important. If I bring my head back like this, it going up is not going to be good for the neck. If I scooch in too much like this, which I don't see too often, you see much more of this. Particularly people are very rounded in their upper back, which some baby boomers are. As we get older, our posture can go that direction. Okay, so here we go. You're going to take your feet onto the glass, which is a little slippery. A wall would be better. And now look how I can get my back as vertical as possible. I can walk my elbows in. And then I see, and by the way, I don't recommend turning your head like I am. I know how to do this. They recommend not doing that. Don't hurt yourself. And then you can see if you can get one leg up, or maybe both legs up. Now see, I'm not perfectly vertical, so I'm going to push in my body, my upper body as much as I can. And that's where the blankets help. They get you more vertical. Then you can experiment. Now I've got the chair here. You don't really need to have a chair, except again, this is beginners. So you might want that chair for support. Your legs can just float there, or they can even touch the floor, your feet. All right, so we're going to come right back down. If this is all too much for you, just start with this, even though I'm ending with it. You can start with this and then graduate. But do remember to have the back of the head on the floor, to walk your elbows in as much as you can. Some people are more flexible in the upper back than others. I can't walk mine in as much as I'd like to anymore, but I walk them in as much as I can so I can push my upper back in. And again, not everyone gets to the upper back with their hands. Sometimes their hands are on the lower back. You see a lot of beginners that have kind of half a shoulder stand, something like that. I hope that's helpful. And I really hope that you will do some inversions because they are so very good for you. It takes me a few moments to turn this off so you can sign off now if you'd like. I just walk over and find the little button, very kind of homemade. And notice I also have on my little toe spreaders. That's always a good thing to pay attention to your feet and toes. But today we're not on our feet and toes. So to be continued. Have a great day. Thank you. Takes me even a little longer here in Dominican Republic to find this thing. It's coming. All right, I'm finally saying goodbye. I think stop recording. Okay.